Good morning, children. Welcome to our physics class. We have learned about friction, cause of friction, factors affecting friction, and effects of friction in the previous classes. Today, we will study about types of friction. There are three types of friction. First one, static friction. Second one, sliding friction. And the third one, rolling friction. Let us check what is static friction. Here, a boy is pushing a heavy block. He should apply more force first to move the block. After moving, he needs to apply less force than the first. It is due to static friction. When an object is placed on a surface in rest, the irregularities of surfaces became interlocked. It makes a frictional force on the object. This is known as static friction. So, we can define static friction as it is a frictional force that exists between two surfaces when they are at rest, and a force is being applied on one of the surfaces in order to induce motion in it. As an example, when you try to move a heavy shelf, you need to apply more force at first. Try to find out the reason. It is due to static friction. Okay, look another situation. When the same heavy block is moving on the surface, the boy needs to apply less force. We have said that because that object is sliding over the surface. At that time, the opposing force or the frictional force is lesser than the previous situation. Because the irregularities present on the two surfaces do not get much time to lock with each other tightly. That's why the sliding friction is less than static friction. So we can say sliding friction as the frictional force that acts between two surfaces when one of the surfaces is sliding on top of the other. Okay? Now we can check the examples of sliding friction. When you slide a sofa on a floor, sliding friction exists between the surface of the sofa and the floor. Same way, when you slide a book across a table, the frictional force that acts between the table and the book is sliding friction. Is it clear, children? Now, the third type of friction is rolling friction. We can define rolling friction as the force that acts between two surfaces when one of the surfaces is rolling on top of the other. Okay. For example, when a ball rolls on the ground, the frictional force that acts between the surface of the ball and the ground is rolling friction. Same way, the wheels of a car, wheels of the vehicles, and the wheels on our skates experience rolling friction during the movement. Okay. So, when we compare these types of frictions, you can identify that rolling friction is lesser than sliding friction and static friction. Same way, sliding friction is lesser than static friction. When you compare static friction, it is greater than rolling friction and sliding friction. Now, we can move to the disadvantages of friction. All of you take your textbook page number 38. You can see there disadvantages of friction. Friction is responsible for a number of problems. We can discuss about some of the disadvantages. Okay. So first one, wastage of energy. So when we move a stationary object, we need to overcome friction. This is done at the expense of precious energy. That means we have to use more energy to move an object from its rest position. So the first disadvantages is wastage of energy. Second one, wear and tear. Soles of shoes, tires of vehicles and moving parts of machines wear out after some time due to friction. This point we have discussed earlier, right? Third one, excessive heating of machine parts. Friction results in unwanted heating of the moving parts of machines. This heat is lost to the environment. Thus, useful energy is wasted as heat. Also, excessive heating can damage machine parts. We have studied the effect of friction. In that, we have discussed about the production of heat after the friction. So, because of this heat production, machines can be damaged. Okay, now production of noise. Friction between moving machine parts is responsible for the production of noise. So, when two objects are moving, because of the frictional force, they will make noise, dragging noise, right? So, these are the some disadvantages of friction. Okay, now we can check to overcome these disadvantages of friction. We need to reduce friction. We can learn some of the methods of reducing friction. So we can reduce friction by minimizing the roughness of surfaces. How will we remove or minimize the roughness of surface? By polishing or by using lubricants or using wheels and ball bearings or designing streamlined shapes. We can check that. Polishing. Polishing minimizes the roughness of a surface. The surface thus becomes smoother and offers less friction. Okay. Now, using lubricants. A lubricant fills the depressions in the surfaces and forms a smooth thin layer between the contact surface. You may be seeing the parents are using the lubricants or oils in between the vehicle's machine parts, right? So this is to reduce friction. Okay, so this significantly reduces friction and enables the contact surfaces to slide easily over one another, so that the lifespan of moving parts increases. Okay, so which are the lubricants we are using? Oil, grease are the common examples of lubricants. Okay, here some common uses of lubricants are given. That is, lubricants in the chains of bicycles, vehicles and sewing machines, then hinges of door, axles of vehicles, etc. Now, third method is using wheels and ball bearings. So, for rolling friction is a smaller than sliding friction. We have said that. By using wheels or ball bearings, we can change the sliding friction into rolling friction. Suppose you want to drag a heavy box from one place to another, you have to apply a large force to do this. So, to overcome that, your work will become easier if you use wheels to the bottom of the box. Okay, so it is for this reason that big bags or suitcases are nowadays provided with the wheels. Okay, for the same reason we can use ball bearings between moving parts of the machines. Okay, now third one is designing a streamlined shape. Like solids, fluids also offers friction. When a body moves in air or water, its motion is opposed by friction. To reduce fluid friction, the body must possess a streamlined shape. The streamlined shape is pointed at the ends and wide in the middle. You may be seeing the birds have this kind of shapes, as do aeroplanes, submarines, etc. is having. This method of overcoming friction is called a streamlining. We will provide a shape for the object to reduce the friction in the air and water. You can see the racing car's shape. Then you can see aeroplane's shape. These all having a sharp end shape and wide in the body. Okay, so this reduces frictions in the air and liquids. We will discuss more about this in tomorrow's class. Okay. So, in this week, you have to write the lecture note of this video. That is your Google Classroom work. Okay, children? Thank you.